Mortal Kombat 2 is a glorious clusterfuck. If you're looking for a movie with minimal plot holes, amazing storytelling, well-developed characters, that's not this movie. This movie is all about brutal action and amazing fight scenes. That's it. You get a little bit of lore in there, but you're not gonna get anything more than that. With the characters, I'm only gonna touch on a couple because not everybody contributes to the story equally. Oh, and this is a spoiler review, by the way, so I'm just gonna spoil this movie. Cole gets killed in this movie. There's no point to him. He was the most hated character in the first movie, and I don't think fans hated him just to hate him. I think they just didn't like the fact that Liu Kang was sidelined. So they killed Cole off in this movie, and then they just brush him away, sweep him away like he's a dirty mop. Shao Khan just completely tosses him, and the moment you see Shao Khan, you know, oh yeah, they're gonna kill Cole. So, some of the key characters in here is Shao Khan. He starts off the movie. And he looks amazing throughout the entire movie because he kills off Jared in the beginning and then he kills off Cole, who was the star of the first movie. So they're setting Shao Kahn up to be one of the biggest threats in this entire franchise, and I loved every single second of it. He even does his running dodge or his running tackle where he turns green. So not only is he super powerful and carrying this giant sledgehammer, but he's faster than you too. So Shao Kahn is somebody to really be afraid of in this movie. And then that moves on to Katana and Johnny Cage. This movie is theirs. Katana starts off the movie and she finishes the movie. Johnny Cage is pretty much the entire middle of the movie. So I'm not going to go too much into it just because I wasn't too impressed with Katana herself, but let's go into Johnny Cage. At first, in the beginning of the movie, I really enjoyed how they presented him, Karl Urban, the actor playing Johnny Cage, but he didn't have the same charisma as the original Johnny Cage from the original movie, and I was missing some of that. And as the story progresses, the movie starts to get a little bit more cheesy, and he starts to show a little bit more of his more relaxed comedic side, and I love that. So once Karl Urban gets into that groove, I really started to enjoy his character a little bit more. Now, some people are definitely not going to like the way that Baraka is presented in this movie and Baraka's interaction with Johnny Cage because it is more goofy. But I thought it's kind of like Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, but it's right in the middle. It's serious, but it's also goofy and campy at the same time. So that's going to be 50-50. Some people are going to like it, some people are not. I personally loved when he runs into the little huts and there's two of the little children, Baraka species there, and he goes, "Ew," like nobody says ill to children. It's hilarious and I loved it. But then he starts doing all the fighting and you're starting to see the weird wire work. And I don't know about that part, but everything else was great and Baraka becomes a fanboy. It's a different dynamic that we don't already have in the movie, which is why I'm open to it. So then we move on to Liu Kang, a character who was sidelined in the first movie and who I really hoped was going to get what he deserved in this movie. Liu Kang is the star of Mortal Kombat. He is the hero of Mortal Kombat. He has been that since the beginning of the games and up until now. And whenever the games removed him from that role, when they killed him off and turned him into a zombie, the games fell apart to the point where they had to reboot him. And we're starting to see that here. I don't understand why the studio and why the writers of this movie don't want to make Liu Kang the main character. I don't mind if they progress from Liu Kang later on down the line, but he's a pivotal character. So the joke in the first movie was the fact that he was relegated to being a space heater for Cole's family after Sub-Zero, after Bi-Han freezes them. So Liu Kang's like, "Come close and I will warm you up." So he's a space heater in the first movie. In this movie, he's a flashlight. When they're trying to break into Shao Kahn's castle, he's walking around with a flame and everybody's following him. He's just a flashlight. And then his death is so weird. I don't even know if it's a death. He just kind of dissipates. He turns into fire and he goes up into the ether. I don't know if maybe they're trying to do the Blaze storyline and they're going to play him off as Blaze. I don't know what that was, honestly, because we do have like the different superpowered beings, like Raiden is the thunder superpower. Then you have the wind superpower, who his name escapes me right now. So I don't know if they're trying to make Liu Kang like the fire superpower. So I have no idea why they keep messing Liu Kang up. but they messed him up. Yes, he has a great fight with Kung Lao in this movie, but honestly, he is the franchise and I feel like he deserves a little bit more. So I don't like the fact that they just sidelined him again. Then we move on to Jax. I couldn't believe that they killed Jax. I get it, it's Mortal Kombat, people are going to die, but I really loved the Jax character, and Shao Khan just completely destroys him. And I'm gonna get a little bit into the story in a bit, just because we have to point out some of the plot holes in this movie. But I really like the Jax character. I'm sad to see him go, but once again, it is Mortal Kombat, people have to die. And then from there we progress on to Noob, Saibot, and Scorpion. I don't like the fact that they killed off Scorpion. I get it, he has to get his powers from hell because he is a hell spawn, sort of. And I love what they did with Sub-Zero, turning him into Noob Saibot. That is how the game goes, that is the lore, so I'm happy that they stuck to the lore. And when I saw him in the trailers, I was super excited to see Noob Saibot. I don't like the fact that they have to figure out some weird convoluted way to get to Scorpion because they decided to kill him off. And I think they might fix that in a third movie. They point to it, but I'll get to that later on. So the fact that they have to go into hell and Scorpion is kind of like their guide in hell and he's fighting Noob Saibot, it's a great action scene. I don't think there's too much special about it. When he said "get over here," his tagline, everybody in the audience clapped and lost their minds. So that was amazing and that was great. Like, there's nothing negative to say about them except how they're writing them, and that's it. But other than that, they're totally fine. Where is Tundra? Tundra is one of the best characters in Mortal Kombat. He is the good Sub-Zero, for those of you who don't know. I want to see Tundra, I want to see Smoke, I want to see Cyrax. The entire Lin Kuei family or clan is super interesting lore. Like, for those of you who don't know, Smoke was one of the Lin Kuei who was kidnapped as a child, and he was going to be sacrificed as a ritual, and then he awoke with powers. That is Smoke's origin. I don't understand how there's so much lore that we can dive into. We can dive into the Shao Khan, Goro's clan fighting Motaro's clan. There's so much lore in Mortal Kombat. It breaks my head how we haven't jumped into it and explored more movies and kind of expanded this franchise a little bit, because a lot of people say they shouldn't do this, like take the Marvel approach, but I think that's a totally valid, when you have this many characters, that's a totally valid thing to do with these characters. Just make a movie with some of these characters and then unite them in the combat, sort of like Super Smash Brothers. Here's my problem: Raiden. Raiden is one of the most frustrating characters in the Mortal Kombat lore, simply because he has one of the best, one of the coolest character designs. This guy looks like a freaking amazing super powered being, which is what he is, but he acts like such a little bitch. Like, every time something comes up and every time the villains are up to no good, his entire thing is, I cannot interfere because this is the Earth realm and I am the protector, but ultimately it is up to you guys. So he's in this weird limbo state of, you're the Earth's protector, but you can't really protect the Earth. You're leaving Earthlings to protect themselves. And that kind of, and the fact that he's super powerful and he's more powerful than most of the characters that we see, if not all of the characters that we see, they have to find little convoluted ways of like writing him a little bit out of the story. And in this movie, that's what they do. They cut his neck, they slit his throat, and he's basically in this weird floating stasis where he can't do anything. He can just mumble every now and then. And it's, once again, the frustration comes with this. He's always, it's the plot holes. He's always saying, I cannot interfere, and yet he always interferes. So he chooses when he wants to interfere. In the first movie, the whole prophecy, and everybody knows the prophecy, is somebody of Scorpion's lineage is going to win Mortal Kombat and save Earth. So what happens when Bi-Han jumps into Scorpion's camp and starts murdering everybody? Raiden knows that it's going on, but he chooses not to interfere because he cannot interfere. Yet when Scorpion's daughter, the baby, is still alive, what does Raiden do? He appears, he saves her, and he interferes. Like, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. It's either, hey, you're going to interfere and you're going to help out Earth, or you're not going to get involved at all. And like, Honestly, it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it breaks my head. And in the games, he even turns into a villain at some point. He kills Liu Kang at some point. Like, Raiden's entire storyline is a complete clusterfuck, and I don't like it. So I'm a little bit annoyed about Mortal Kombat 2, the way that they wrote them, because they're not improving on any of it. They're just going right along with more of the clusterfuckiness of it, and it doesn't make any sense. So I hate the way that Raiden is written, and ultimately I think I've decided on this. I don't want to be too rash during the first movie about the actor portraying Raiden. I don't like this actor, and it's not his fault. It is definitely the way that he's written, but he has little jokes here and there that he just doesn't deliver well. There is no charisma to this Raiden. Say what you want about the 1990s Mortal Kombat, but that Raiden, I understand Lambert was French and he had nothing to do with the mythology, but he had charisma. He was cool, he was fun, and he was a nice character to see on screen. Just him smiling was welcoming and inviting, and it was something like, yeah, he's a good guy and we're gonna trust him. This guy, on the other hand, he's just kind of boring. He offers nothing to this franchise. So I just hope they write him better, and hopefully we can start to see a little bit more, because I'm sure he's a great actor. Same thing like Cole. I'm sure Cole is a really good actor. He's known in some of the circles. Unfortunately, they just wrote him like crap. So moving on from Maiden, I think that's all I want to say about Kano. They brought back Kano, which the moment when they bring Kano back, the movie picks up, because the charisma, the fun, it's all there. The way he's just fucking with Quan Chi the entire time, telling him like, hey, can you make me a new eye? And then Quan Chi has to like 3D print him a new eye. And just rolls at him. He's just super annoying. Quan Chi's to the point where like he brings Kano back to life, and then Katana's like, why is he not a revenant like everybody else, like Sub-Zero being Noob Saibot? He's like, oh, he wasn't worth the time. So the fact that even Quan Chi, who has no idea who this guy is just like, yeah, I'm not gonna bother with this guy. He's kind of like your little brother who's always on the ride with you and just annoying you in your backseat, saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? That is Kano, and I love him throughout this entire movie. He is a star of the franchise to me. I was hoping Johnny Cage would kind of fill that void, but I think Johnny Cage and Kano working together definitely do work, because they're both just pretty much telling each other to fuck off. So Kano, amazing. Now let's get into the story about this, and when we get into the plot holes of things that happen in the games, where like killing off Jax, where I'm thinking to myself, that's not legal in the Mortal Kombat games. Like, sure, before the tournament you can go all out and murder them all you want. It's cheating, but it's technically not allowed, or I don't know how that works, but that is part of the lore. Shao Khan is sending Shang Tsung over to kill Earthlings before the tournament. That's part of the game lore. So when I'm watching this movie and I watch Shao Khan kill Jax, one competitor kill another competitor during the tournament, but not in a tournament match, that is breaking the rules. Then you take the amulet aspect of it, where Shao Kahn takes Raiden's power, and now he is an immortal being. The whole point of Mortal Kombat is that it's mortal beings fighting each other. So the moment Shao Kahn takes that immortality from Raiden, he is no longer mortal. It's no longer Mortal Kombat. He is void and null from the tournament. So at some point, some higher being there is no higher beings, by the way. These people do not appear. Like in the original Mortal Kombat movie, they appear in the sky and they're fire. And I thought when we saw the flames, the blue flame and the red flame in the sky in the trailer, I thought that was going to be them. No, they don't appear at all. Nobody says anything. So Shao Kahn does whatever the hell he wants. There is nobody enforcing the rules. And it is not Raiden's job to enforce the rules. He is Earth's protector. His job is to protect the Earth. And he sucks at it, but that's his job. So right then and there, Shao Kahn should have been disqualified. And to me, Shao Kahn killing Jax contributes into the later stages of the fight, which is when Katana decides to change allegiances. She decides to change sides. You could have written it. You could have had some higher being come in and say, hey, Shao Kahn, you've been cheating since the beginning of the game. We're going to allow Katana switching sides because you've been cheating this entire time. But in reality, Earth loses. Earth belongs to Shao Kahn. he wins the tournament because nobody stepped in, or there is no referee. No referee stepped in to stop Shao Khan. So Earth should technically belong to Shao Khan. And the way that the story ends is Kitana wins for Earth. Earth is free. And then she is technically now the queen of her realm, which is called like Adina or something like that. I'm hoping that I get it right. Her mom is completely just a zombie throughout this movie, by the way. Sindel offers nothing to the plot. So now Kitana's in charge. She's the queen of her realm. Earth is totally fine. And this breaks Mortal Kombat lore because in the games, it's supposed to be Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung appears. He tries to kill off Earthlings before the tournament. Liu Kang defeats him. Then the tournament starts. Liu Kang once again defeats him. Then Shao Kahn comes in. Liu Kang defeats him. I think he defeats him once or twice. And then Shao Kahn decides to invade anyways. And then we get into this big invasion fight. And that's when we get into another. It's not a Mortal Kombat tournament at that point, but it's still like a big fight. None of that is happening anymore because Shao Kahn is gone. He was killed. Kitana completely dismembered him. And in Deadly Alliance and in other situations with Shao Kahn dying, they say, oh yeah, they jumped into his chambers when he was weak and they killed him off. But then later on you find out he's actually still secretly alive and that wasn't the real Shao Kahn. And he goes and he finds Prince Goro and he basically tells Goro to join me, and Goro joins him, and then Shao Kahn makes his return. None of that is happening because they sliced his head into 1,000,000 pieces. So I have no idea where this story is going from here. And that's both exciting and scary because the writing doesn't inspire excitement. Because you can go with the Dragon King or you can go with Shinnok. Those are two other villains that we can definitely go into and that are super interesting. There's also Kodo Khan, who is he looks like an Aztec warrior, but he's not, who replaces Shao Kahn when Shao Kahn dies. So you can have Kodo Khan come in and challenge Kitana and then beat Kitana, and now they have to deal with Kodo Khan. Oh yeah, Sonya says something important. She says we're gonna go ahead and revive all of our friends, or we're gonna go bring our friends back at the end of the movie, which means we're most likely going to see Liu Kang. The deaths kind of don't mean anything in this movie because we're most likely going to get Jax back. We're going to get Liu Kang back. And I think this is where they're going to fix that Scorpion problem. I think they're going to bring Scorpion back to life because they're going to need him in future fights. So they're going to bring back a bunch of characters that have already died. Now, if you want to hear more of my hot takes, here's a video on why Marvel's desperate making Avengers Doomsday. I'm not saying Avengers Doomsday is going to be bad. I'm just saying how Marvel's desperation led to Avengers Doomsday and how that affects you in your pocket.